So what is a boss lady? Who is a boss lady? What makes you a boss lady?
Ooh, I feel like, overcoming barriers in the industry and being able to provide for other people and your family, being independent. I think that's a boss. I think that's a boss lady.
What do you think a boss lady is?
I mean, kind of, what she said, but just in addition, like just having your own ideas and feeling like your voice matters. And when you speak up, if you're in a situation where you're not necessarily the boss, but you're in a position of power, knowing that your voice matters.
Oh, so. Yeah. That's interesting because for so long, women's voices have not mattered. When do you think that changed?
I think it's always ever changing, right? I think that as we become more unapologetic in our Black girl magic and in our roles and in our confidence, and as we step into our own womanhood, I think that the time is now and we don't have any other choice if we want to tell our own stories. In my case, if we want to tell our own stories, if we want to lead our own paths, I think that we have to be noticed and we have to be understood and heard.
Yeah. So this happened recently. Miss Universe is Black. Miss America is Black. Miss USA is Black. And then Claudia Jordan, who is like she's done the pageants before, told me Miss North America was Black. I'm like, North America? Where they do that at?
Right.
I don't know. Who is Miss Compton Black? Is Miss Watts Black? Is Miss Beverly Hills Black? So how do you ladies feel about all of this Black girl magic that's happening right now? It's a pretty big deal.
Right.
Are people who are not Black recognizing it? Do they see it?
Yes.
They have to.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Puerto Rican, so I feel like, I just feel like it's amazing because there's the Afro-Latinas, that's stepping out now too, and I just think it's a dope time for Black girl magic.
And it's about time.
Yeah.
Like, it's about damn time,
about
right?
time.
It's about time. Like we go back in history and see what's happened with Vanessa Williams, who is one of my idols, who I love, and just seeing her story and her struggles and how she paved the way for this moment to happen, it's like it is about time,
Yeah.
I agree. You feel like it's time?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, when I was coming up, I didn't have anyone to look towards who looked like me, that was in a position behind the scenes, not in front of the camera, not an artist, not a model, not a singer, but someone who was on the executive front. And so now where I am now, I'm one of many. And then there's also young girls who can look and say, oh yeah, LaToya Lee, like that's someone I can look at plus more.
Yeah. I was just talking to someone, I was talking to Taylor, our wardrobe, about when you say there are one of many now, it is a beautiful thing to see because we do see one of many directors who are women now, minorities. We see one of many actresses. We see one of many radio hosts, which that's what I do. And I'm like, it used to be a man's world, and it is slowly but surely moving away from that. Do you think men are a little pissed about it?
Of course they are. Of course they are. But all they have to do is get in line. I really feel like we are. Have you ever seen that movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yes.
Yeah.
And how the mom is like, they may be the head that makes the decision, but we're the neck that turns the head. And I feel like that is representative of us in all spaces. I feel like we are the necks that turn the head. Like Michelle Obama is probably the biggest example of that. And it's not to take away anything from them and their power. It should just say, like, we have space too, and we're here to take that space and own it.
I just think that more women, it's always been women, behind the man or beside the man. But I think that more women are okay with stepping in front and saying, yes, he's the head, but I'm the one that's helping making the decisions. And then also I think that more men are okay with saying, yes, I have this woman a part of my team that's helping make these decisions. It wasn't always like that, and I think now that's changing.
Right.
So I want each of you ladies to tell our audience here and at home what you do and what you're responsible for. Why exactly are we talking to the three of you?
Okay. You want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I own a talent agency called the Signature Group Bookings. So I'm pretty much responsible for all your favorite artists for all the shows you go to, all your favorite artists that appear there, that are there on time, that are performing, and there's been a lot of
And by shows, you mean concerts?
Concerts, club hostings, any type of celebrity appearance. I'm pretty much the one that gets him there, gets him booked there, him or her.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much the basis behind the company.
Latoya?
Yeah.
I'm an A&R in the music business. So I started off on the record side, which is record labels, and then now I'm in the publishing space, which is music publishing. So on the record side, I dealt more with the artists, like directly with the artists. Being on the publishing side, I'm dealing with the people that are writing and producing the songs for the artist.
Right.
So that's where the difference is between those two. So that's what I do. So I'm finding talent, I'm signing talent, I'm developing it, I'm putting records together. That's kind of like a gist of what it is.
But you're not signing the actual talent now. You're signing the writers.
So if an artist writes or they produce, then they'll also be in a publishing deal. So basically it's like if they're writing their songs or they're writing and producing for others,
right,
then yes, they have.
So if they're Missy Elliott, then they sign with you.
Absolutely.
But then if they are Cardi B, they wouldn't sign with you.
No, Cardi B gets writer credit.
They told me she wasn't writing none of her stuff.
She writes.
Okay.
She writes.
They thought
she has a publishing deal. She writes.
Just because you have a publishing deal.
She writes. If you look at the credits, she's in the credits.
But does the credit mean you write?
Yes, because most of the time, writers and producers, they become smarter. So a lot of them now, they're understanding that, like, yes, being in the room with this A-list artist is a great opportunity for me, but I did the work. Right. So instead of them just being okay with just giving away publishing now, they're actually looking at the artist and being like, contribute something so that way I don't just feel like I'm giving it to you because you're this A-list artist.
Got it.
So yes, they are writing. So yes, she does write.
All right. She did that. Okay. She tried to copyright that too. Why couldn't that be copywritten? Do you know?
I'm not exactly certain.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I guess because it's really okay, and so maybe they're like, I don't know.
Not okay. Yeah. Like not okay, Ashley.
I am a supervising producer in the unscripted programming field, and basically I go from show to show. I'm freelance, so I go from show to show, and I oversee everything creative, storytelling, as well as logistics, scheduling, sometimes budgeting, and make sure it all comes together and gels nice and strong so that we see your favorite shows on TV.
So what shows would we know?
My two favorite shows are RuPaul's Drag Race and Iyanla Fix My Life are like my top faves. But I've worked with all networks from WeTV to Bravo to OWN, VH1. I've done some stuff for NBC, ABC. I've been all over.
All over the place. What are some writers that we would know that you've worked with?
I mean, so do we want to talk who I've worked with in general or in my current position?
Both.
Okay, well, I guess the top artist, the top talent that I've worked with is Trey Songz.
Okay.
So I A&R'd his Trigger and Tremaine, his last two albums. I A&R'd those. So
you were. I've interviewed Trey Songz a couple of times. So yeah, he's a cool dude. He's all right. And I know
we talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, go ahead and tell everybody.
Trey, I've worked with many times. I love Trey. I work with Rich the Kid, Wiz Khalifa, Ty Dolla. Kind of grew up in the same space with all the LA artists, so YG, Wiz, Mustard, OT Genesis, pretty much everybody we book for.
And you started in the club business.
Yeah, in the club business.
Everything that you all have mentioned is pretty much male dominated.
Right.
A&R, without a doubt,
Yeah,
male
for sure.
dominated. Club,
Right.
Only two women were doing it back when you started, right?
Right, yeah. Myself and another woman named Tanya, we were the ones at the front doors that did all the bottle service, but this was prior to like the TAO groups and the SPEs and all of that. And I kind of just always was a listener and a learner. So I was just always listening to the meetings and kind of taking in notes. And, you know, one of my good friends just blew up, and which is French Montana. And they were just like, hey, we want to book him. You're the only one that has access. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me do this. I know the game. Let me go and start booking him. And I just started from there.
When you say bottle service, you mean tell people what you mean, because we think
okay,
you
not
the
the
girl
waitress,
that
not the
do
waitress,
firecracker in the bottle and walk around with your ass out.
Not that.
Okay.
But the one at the door that arranges all of like the VIP clientele. So all the artists that book tables, or if you book a table and you go to the club and you have your liaison or your VIP host that takes care of you, you know, at the door and seating and things like that. So I started with that and, you know, build my roster, build my Rolodex from that.
So how do you make it would you consider your position and what you do a man's world? I don't necessarily see it that way.
I wouldn't say it's a man's world, but there are some standards that are very masculine that we kind of have to abide by. And it's just a fusion, just because like they know what they want, they know the stories they want to tell. And my biggest thing is telling the full spectrum of the Black experience, right? And so no man, especially not a white gay man, which is starting to dominate this community a lot, can tell me how to tell a Black woman's story, because I am a Black woman and I know that story, I know that struggle. And so that's what we're finding. It's a collaboration of, you know, story, you got the connections, okay, great. Well, I know the insider, because most of the time we're like therapists getting these stories out. And so sometimes they do not know how to connect on an emotional level. And so that's where we come in to say like, hey, this is the vision for this, and this is where we need to go.
So I have the burning question that everyone who is a reality show fan and not, that I need to ask, and I need answers, Sway.
Okay.
Why y'all be throwing the water in people's faces all the time?
Ooh, you didn't say y'all.
Well, you the script supervisor. I'm going directly to the source. You know, who was in the room? Tell us who was in the room at the table.
I'm gonna give you real tea, okay, Tammy?
Yes.
I'm gonna give you some real tea. The way we develop ideas is, if I say, I'm going to create a show about your life, Tammy, I will come to you and say, hey, what's going on with your life? And you may say, I have this going on, that going on, but I'm also mad at this person over here. And so we say, oh, she's mad at that person over there. Well, we reached out to them too. So maybe we'll see how you handle yourself with this person. Maybe you can come to a common understanding. Now, if you don't have the self-control to come to a common understanding, then we let it play as it play.
But I get if you don't have the self-control to come to the common understanding. Yeah. But who, Ashley, be placing the water in the cup?
The waiter!
No,
it's not the waiter.
That water be too properly placed. Look, I can see it in your face, girl. I mean, the water, and for some reason, the water be in plastic cups all the time. Am I lying? Am I lying? The water be sitting there at the plastic cup, and it's like, you know, like my people in my ear right now. It's like somebody in their ear going, now, splash water,
No. You know, another common misunderstanding is that reality shows are scripted. And I think
you a script
supervisor and producer.
Okay.
But we don't have scripts. Like I said, we have stories that we need to tell. We have a time frame in which to tell them. And so we try to, you know, we know the format of a story. We have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Right. We have to have an exposition and a denouement. Like, we have to have these elements to go in place. And so we just follow the format. And you know, the personalities come in different waves. Like, I haven't worked on many of those type of shows where they're throwing waters in people's faces and all that stuff. But I have worked with difficult talent like that who want to turn up and who want to, you know, I need to tell them, and like, I've worked with that type of talent.
So can you tell me right here, right now, Ashley, in my face, that there is literally no script?
I can't say that for most shows. Most shows that I work on,
you cannot say that for most shows.
There is no script, but a lot of shows are what's called softly scripted, where we know what we want you to say, and we give you what's called beats. I'm giving you the real tea, girl. We have what's called beats, which also go in like to, you know, screenwriting as well. And we say like, hey, Tammy, so with this segment, we really need you to hit this point, and this point. And so in those points, you know, you may decide like, I want to hit this point too. We leave room for the actual reality to happen. So it's not really scripted, but there is a budget.
It's
there is
sketch
a timeline.
comedy is what it is.
Ooh.
That's what it is. It's sketch
can be.
comedy.
I see what you're
Because
saying
a
in
sketch
that.
comedy, you sketch it out. There's no script, but you know
The outline.
the outline of it, and where you want to start, where you want the middle to be, and what you want the end to be. And
Yes.
anything that happens in between,
You
is
let
on
it happen. Absolutely.